Welcome to my channel. Today is best top 3 coins. Please don't skip this video. So let's get started. The United States 1-cent coin of 1945, known as the Lincoln wheat cent, represents one of the most iconic coins in American numismatic history, first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln cent replaced the Indian head cent and became the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure. The 1945 cent belongs to the long-running wheat cent series, 1909-1958, so named for the pair of stylized wheat stalks that decorate its reverse side on the obverse front side. The 1945 penny features the right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States and the leader who guided the nation through the Civil War. The portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appeared on some of the earliest 1909 issues. Lincoln's profile is strong and solemn, reflecting his enduring association with honesty, liberty, and the fight for national unity. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and to the right is the date 1945 on the reverse backside. The design features 2 wheat stalks that curve upward from the bottom rim, framing the inscriptions. At the top appears a motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, a reminder of America's unity across its many states. In the center, the large words 1 cent identify the denomination, with United States of America below. The simplicity of this reverse gave the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny or wheatie. The composition of the 1945 cent is an important historical detail, unlike the 1943 steel cents or the 1944 steel transition errors. The 1945 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, the standard bronze alloy used for most wheat cents. The coin weighs 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and features a plain, smooth edge. This composition gave the coin a reddish-brown appearance when newly minted, though many surviving examples today show darker brown or even blackish tones due to oxidation. The minting locations of the 1945 cent included 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, while Denver coins bore a D mint mark, and San Francisco coins carried an S. Both located just below the date on the obverse, collectors often seek to assemble a complete 1945 set containing all 3 mint varieties. The mintage figures of the 1945 penny were extremely high. Philadelphia struck over 1 billion cents, 1,040,515,000. Denver produced more than 266,268,268,000, and San Francisco struck around 181,770,000. With more than 1.4 billion total coins minted, the 1945 wheat cent is one of the most common World War II-era pennies, reflecting the nation's economic activity during the closing stages of the war. In terms of circulation, the 1945 cent was a workhorse coin. It was heavily used in everyday commerce across the country, from paying for a loaf of bread to filling vending machines and telephones. At the time, a single penny still had meaningful purchasing power, especially for small candies, newspapers, and other inexpensive items. This makes the 1945 cent a vivid reminder of how inflation and time have changed the value of money. From a numismatic perspective, most 1945 cents are worth only face value in heavily circulated condition due to their massive mintage. However, well-preserved uncirculated examples are more desirable, especially in higher grades like MS65 Red RD, where the coin retains its original bright copper luster. Coins that grade even higher, such as MS67 RD, can command significant premiums. Collectors distinguish between Red RD, Red-Brown RB, and Brown BN, color designations which reflect how much of the original copper luster remains. The historical context of the 1945 penny is especially fascinating. The coin was minted during the final year of World War II. The United States had mobilized its entire economy for war production, and metals were scarce. Just 2 years earlier, in 1943, the Mint had experimented with zinc-coated steel cents to save copper for the war effort. In 1944, the Mint returned to copper but used recycled shell casings from military ammunition, giving rise to the so-called shell case cents. The 1945 cents continued in this composition, connecting them directly to the wartime economy and America's military efforts. Collectors often search for errors and varieties among 1945 pennies. Some notable varieties include double dies, where the lettering or date appears doubled, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and repunch mint marks, RPMs, on the Denver and San Francisco issues. These error coins can be far scarcer and more valuable than normal examples, adding excitement for specialists. In terms of grading and rarity, the vast majority of 1945 pennies are common. However, sharp uncirculated coins with full mint red luster are relatively harder to find, since most coins quickly tone to brown in circulation. Third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC certify high-grade 1945 cents, and registry set collectors often compete for the finest known specimens. The symbolism of the 1945 penny is rich. Lincoln's portrait represents the nation's unity and dedication to liberty, especially poignant during wartime. The wheat reverse symbolizes prosperity, agriculture, and the strength of the American farmer critical values for a nation supplying food and resources both at home and abroad during World War II. The mottos "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum" further reinforce the ideals of faith, unity, and collective identity. The cultural memory of the wheat penny also makes the 1945 coin beloved among collectors and the general public. For many Americans, wheat cents were the first coins they collected from pocket change. Even today, finding a 1945 wheat penny in circulation is possible, though less common, and always a small thrill for hobbyists and history enthusiasts. In terms of value, circulated 1945 cents are usually worth just 1 cent. Uncirculated examples in grades like MS-63, MS-65 RD may bring between $1 and $20, while superb gem examples in MS-67 RD can sell for hundreds. Rare error varieties or coins with exceptional eye appeal can reach even higher prices at auction. The Denver and San Francisco issues, while struck in lower numbers in Philadelphia, are still common, but high-grade mint cents can be a bit scarcer. Finally, the legacy of the 1945 1-cent coin lies in its dual role as both an ordinary, common piece of circulating money and a powerful historical artifact. It links us directly to the end of World War II, to the life of Abraham Lincoln, and to America's agricultural and economic roots. While billions were minted, the coin remains meaningful to collectors and history lovers alike, embodying the story of mid-20th century America in a small copper disc. Next, the United States 1-cent coin of 1946, known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, belongs to the classic wheat penny series that ran from 1909 until 1958. The design of the cent features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, on the obverse, and 2 wheat stalks framing the denomination on the reverse. It was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and became the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical person. The 1946 cent was minted immediately after World War II, making it an especially important issue in the broader history of American coinage. On the obverse front side, the 1946 cent presents a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Brenner designed the portrait to reflect both dignity and accessibility, capturing Lincoln's legacy as a great emancipator and a symbol of unity. Around the portrait, the inscriptions include "In God We Trust" along the top, liberty to the left, and the date 1946 to the right below the date. Some coins also feature a mint mark, D for Denver or S for San Francisco. The simplicity of the layout combined with Lincoln's iconic profile gave the coin widespread recognition across America. On the reverse backside, the design features 2 stylized wheat stalks curving inward from the bottom rim, giving the coin its nickname, the wheat cent or wheat penny. Between the stalks, the inscriptions include the large denomination 1 cent and United States of America. Above these words sits the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum," meaning out of many, one. The wheat design symbolized agriculture, prosperity, and the nation's strength rooted in farming traditions, values deeply tied to American identity in the early 20th century. The composition of the 1946 cent is historically significant. During World War II, the U.S. Mint experimented with different materials to conserve copper for the war effort. In 1943, cents were struck in zinc-coated steel and in 1944-1945, they were struck using recycled brass shell casings. By 1946, however, the war had ended, and the mint returned to the standard bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition gave the coin its familiar reddish-brown color. The coin weighs 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. The mints that struck 1946 cents were Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The mint mark, when present, appears just below the date on the obverse side. Each mint contributed to a very high overall mintage, reflecting the economic growth of the post-war era. The mintage numbers were enormous. Philadelphia produced about 991 million coins. Denver struck over 315 million, and San Francisco struck more than 198 million. Combined, this makes a total mintage of over 1.5 billion pennies, making the 1946 cent extremely common in circulation. Because of these high numbers, most examples today are plentiful and easily found in coin collections, dealer inventories, and even old jars of change. In terms of circulation and usage, the 1946 cent was a central part of daily American life. At the time, a single cent carried more purchasing power than today. 1 cent could buy chewing gum, small candies, or contribute toward larger purchases like newspapers. Millions of school children also handled these coins daily, often beginning their first coin collections with wheat cents found in pocket change. The historical background adds depth to the 1946 pennies, meaning World War II had ended in 1945, and by 1946, America was transitioning into a period of peace and prosperity. The return to the traditional bronze alloy symbolized a return to normalcy after years of war-driven metal substitutions. The coin thus carries a sense of optimism, representing stability in both the economy and daily life. From a collector's standpoint, most 1946 cents are very common in circulated condition, worth little more than face value. However, uncirculated examples with bright red luster, graded MS65 RD and higher, can be more desirable. The most sought-after examples are those with a full red designation, meaning the coin retains nearly all of its original fiery copper color over time. Many pennies tone to brown, so fully red coins are scarcer. The era varieties of the 1946 penny are also of interest. Collectors search for doubled dies, where letters or numbers appear doubled due to die misalignment, repunched mint marks, RPMs, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets. While not every error is valuable, certain dramatic varieties can fetch strong prices in the numismatic market. For example, a bold double die obverse or a major off-center strike could sell for many times a coin's face value. The San Francisco issues, 1946s, hold special interest for collectors because of their lower mintage compared to Philadelphia, though they are still very common overall. High-grade examples of the 1946s, particularly those with full red luster, are scarcer and more desirable. The Denver issue 1946D was produced in large numbers, but like the others, high-grade, well-preserved examples are much less common than worn coins. In symbolic terms, the 1946 penny is layered with meaning. Lincoln's portrait represents liberty, emancipation, and the preservation of the Union. The wheat reverse symbolizes the agricultural backbone of the nation, essential to both feeding the country and supporting global recovery in the post-war years. The motto, "In God We Trust," reflects the values of faith and resilience, while E Pluribus Unum emphasizes unity, a message of particular importance as America adjusted to a new world order after the war. The economic role of the 1946 cent was still important. Although inflation had reduced its buying power compared to earlier decades, the penny remained relevant in everyday commerce. Businesses priced goods in increments that made pennies necessary, and millions of Americans relied on them for daily transactions. Even vending machines and pay telephones of the era often required nickels, dimes, and pennies to operate, keeping the 1 cent coin in heavy circulation. In terms of value today, circulated 1946 cents are generally worth 1.3 cents, depending on condition. Uncirculated examples in grades MS63, MS65 can be worth around $1.10, while superb gem examples in MS67 RD can fetch much higher prices, sometimes over $100 depending on demand. Special error coins or varieties can sell for significantly more. Depending on rarity and collector interest, the cultural memory of wheat pennies makes the 1946 cent beloved. For many collectors, wheat pennies were the first coins they ever pulled from circulation. The 1946 coin, with its massive mintage, is often one of the most commonly found dates, making it both accessible and nostalgic. Even today, finding a 1946 penny in pocket change connects a holder to a period nearly 80 years past. Finally, the legacy of the 1946 1-cent coin is that of a common, yet meaningful piece of American history. Though not rare, it represents a transition from war to peace, the endurance of Lincoln's memory and the continuity of U.S. coinage traditions. It is a coin of the people produced in massive numbers, carried by millions, and remembered fondly by generations. Next, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Cent is one of the coins from the popular wheat penny series, struck by the United States Mint between 1909 and 1958. These coins are instantly recognizable because of their reverse design, which features two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. The 1953 issue belongs to the post-World War II generation of pennies, produced during a time of economic growth in America. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the three mints active for cent production in that year. The obverse side of the coin showcases a familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has been used on the penny since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin portraits in U.S. history. Around Lincoln's head are inscriptions. "In God We Trust" at the top, Liberty on the left, and the date 1953 on the right. Just below the date sits a small D mint mark, representing the Denver Mint. This simple yet powerful design connected everyday Americans to Lincoln's memory as the savior of the Union and a symbol of freedom. The reverse side of the 1953 D cent displays the classic wheat design. At the center are the large words 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. Two stylized wheat stalks curve upward along each side, framing the inscriptions. This design was chosen in 1909 as a way to honor America's agricultural roots, reminding people that farming and hard work were at the heart of national prosperity. The metal composition of the 1953 D penny is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, known as the bronze alloy. The coin weighs 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain, smooth edge. By the 1950s, the composition had returned to the traditional bronze formula that had been temporarily altered during World War II, when cents were made from steel in 1943 and recycled brass shell casings in 1944-1946. Thus, the 1953 cent belongs to the standard bronze era. The Denver Mint responsible for producing the 1953 D cent struck an enormous number of these coins. In fact, the Denver mintage was about 700,515,000 coins. This massive output made the 1953 D cent one of the most common issues in the entire wheat penny series. Because of this, the coin circulated heavily across the United States, entering everyday transactions, children's piggy banks, and even being saved in rolls by collectors at high-end circulation. The 1953 D penny played a significant role in daily life at that time. 1 cent still had noticeable purchasing power. For instance, a penny could buy a piece of candy or chewing gum, and just a handful of pennies could contribute toward a bottle of soda or a ride on public transportation. Millions of Americans use these coins daily, making the 1953 D one of the most handled coins of its decade. From a historical standpoint, the 1953 D cent reflects a post-war America that was entering a new era of prosperity and growth. Families were moving to suburbs. Cars were becoming central to life, and the economy was expanding. The Lincoln cent, though small in denomination, symbolized stability, linking the achievements of Lincoln's time with the progress of the mid-20th century when it comes to collectability. The 1953 D cent is generally considered common. In well-worn, circulated condition, it holds little more than face value, though most collectors keep it as part of a complete wheat penny set. The true value appears in uncirculated coins, especially those graded MS-65 and above. In bright red RD condition, uncirculated examples can be worth a few dollars to collectors. Extremely high-grade coins, such as those graded MS-67 RD, can command values over $100. Error varieties from a 1953 D cent also exist and are interesting to collectors. These include repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D appears doubled or slightly misaligned due to the way mint marks were punched into the dies by hand at that time. Other errors include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or clip planchets. While not every error carries great value, dramatic ones can significantly increase a coin's desirability. Symbolically, the Lincoln Wheat cent of 1953 D represents more than just money. The Lincoln obverse embodies ideals of freedom, unity, and equality, while the wheat reverse celebrates America's agricultural strength. The coin bridges the values of the past through Lincoln's leadership with the optimism of the 1950s for this reason. Even common pennies like the 1953 D carry a special historic weight. Collectors today often encounter 1953 D cents in old coin rolls, inherited jars of change, or coin shop bins. Because so many were struck, they remain widely available. But for those building a complete wheat cent collection, the 1953 D is a must-have, filling the place of Denver's contribution to that year's production. Even though the monetary value of a single 1953 D cent is usually small, its historical and cultural value is much greater. It ties collectors and historians alike to a specific moment in U.S. history, a time when Lincoln's image on a bronze coin continued to inspire millions of people. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.